Senator Bernie Sanders crisscrossing the country on his nationwide Fighting Oligarchy campaign while chartering over $221,000 worth of private jets in the first quarter of 2025 alone. Bernie and his jets, okay? Bernie was at Coachella over the weekend as well, because you truly have to be on psychedelics to believe anything that this man is saying. And I just want to read you his statement. Actually, this statement might have been from his latest event in LA, but either way, it was the same weekend he made this statement. We will not accept a rigged economy where working people who cannot afford private jets struggle while billionaires become richer. We have got to create an economy that works for working people, not just Mr. Musk and the billionaire class. Okay. This comes on the heels of Representative AOC flying first class to a Fighting Oligarchy event as well. Fighting for illegal immigrants is probably not a winning issue for the left. But I'd like to admit right here that the most frightening sect of the left is the Bernie Sanders AOC sect of the left. Not because they're right, they're easily the most absurd, but because they are speaking to something that even young conservatives are experiencing right now. I am not saying this is right. I know my audience skews not that much older than, it's usually like 32-year-olds that are like my most popular demographic, but I know we have some older listeners as well, some gray listeners, some silver foxes, yeah? But I'm going to give you kind of the takedown of the Gen Z mentality. It's not to say it's right. It's to say this is our perception. There is a perception of imbalanced wealth where people who have and own assets, they have something that is appreciating. Most notably, home ownership. People above that got into the housing market before 2018, they have homes and they own something that is appreciating with time. Anybody who got into the housing market after 2018, this has become increasingly difficult to get there. The best example I can think of is I was on Zillow. I saw a home that was out in the frickin' boonies, okay? That was once $347,000 in 2018. That same house is now worth $559,000. Now, take the cost out of the house, actually, because it's not even just the cost of the house, which, by the way, the house was not worth $559,000. It's outdated, ugly, not nice, not anywhere near a city, not worth $500,000, over $500,000, okay? Then you have to calculate in the interest rates, right? The monthly cost of the mortgage as well. Add all of that. I did the math. It was going to cost somewhere in the lower $3,100 range, whereas that same house in 2018 would have cost $1,800 per month for a mortgage. Now, most people feel, not saying this is true, feel like they should own a home before they start having children and having a family. Sometimes people feel that they should get in a home before they even get married. Okay? Now, this is what is in part, not fully, in part, leading to the lowering birth rates, right? You see it too. Like if it takes you a long time to get into a home, you're older, you're in your 30s when you start having children, you're already lowering your chance at successfully giving birth anyway. So like I said, by the time you've kind of achieved all of that, women are past their biological clocks, or it just becomes more difficult given their position. So whichever party, I say all of that to say, whichever party can address that properly is going to swing my entire generation. Because you're not talking about lazy piece of crap kids. You're not talking about kids out there chasing their dream. You're talking about people working multiple jobs and making six figures and still not able to go and afford a home. The average first-time home buyer in America as of 2025 is 38 years old. That's unreal. Now, in the past 4 years, the right has been very successful at speaking to that issue. Actually, Dana Perino was hosting one of the Republican debates that Trump wasn't on. And I DM'd her because we DM'd like 1 or 2 times. She's a Fox News anchor. And I was like, could you please ask a question about home ownership and how the Republican Party wants to address home ownership? Never asked it. She didn't know me to like ask that question, but that question was never asked at any of these debates. But Trump addressed that problem. He talked about it. He knows it's a big issue for us, right? And that's, I think, in part why he won over a lot of this growing conservative generation, Gen Z. However, I bring all that up to say the Bernies, the AOCs, that anti-oligarchy theme, it's resonating, and it does resonate very, very well. So my goal in providing you guys with information, because you're very likely conservative if you're listening to the show, is you don't need to dismiss the reality that we are living in as young people, to remind young people that the anti-oligarchy message, while appealing, is also being spoken to us by elected hypocrites who actually engage far more in oligarchical behavior than Republican counterparts. So you don't need to deny our experience. I'm not going to say lived experience, yuck, but you don't need to deny our problems, tell us to work harder. None of that. It's not helpful in the discourse, if we're being honest. This is a real issue that we're facing. And I think the anti-oligarchy conversation is worth having, but it's not going to be fixed by Bernie Sanders, a man with 3 homes that can charter private jets. Let's be honest. It's hard to know what information to trust, especially when information is released faster than it can be verified. And reporting nowadays, let's be honest, it favors a lot of clickbait content over the high quality journalism that takes a little while to confirm and, find out what's real or not. That's why when I prep for this show, I don't just, look at the sources firsthand, but I also go and trust ground news, because this app and website combines news from all different sides of the political spectrum to just find the facts and see where the media is exaggerating, sensationalizing, or underreporting news. I've got to say, ground news was super important when I was trying to do the research for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So you can pretty much thank the entire beginning of the show to ground news. But the best part is you can kind of bypass me. Of course, you're here for my brilliant commentary, but outside of that, if you just wanted to look up something, ground news is there for you. And when you use the link in my description, you'll actually get 40% off of the Vantage subscription, which is what I pay for out of my own pocket, by the way. I don't use their gifted link. I bought it myself because I really believe in this product, and you can head over to check.ground.news/Chrissy to get informed on the go. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment about how beautiful, intelligent, and funny I am. And if you want more content, click right over here for more videos and clips of my show. I'll see you back here next time. Bye!